Canon made a camera that is unique but also a bit useless. In this video, I will explain why. I'm talking about the Canon Powershot V10, a compact camera designed for social media enthusiasts. We will go through 7 pros and 5 cons because this camera has a lot of advantages but also disadvantages that might be deal breakers for some people. Stick around and you'll find out if the Canon V10 is the right choice for you. Let's start with the pros. First one, the shape of this camera. Every person that holds a V10 will get a sense of familiarity while handling it. It feels like a smartphone, the thing everybody uses. And this is a good thing. A smartphone-shaped camera means that you will draw less attention to yourself. While you're recording with a V10, people will think you're using a smartphone. That's useful in crowded environments where you just want to capture some quick B-roll and go by unnoticed. Speaking about B-roll, here you'll have a great ally. The second pro, the tilting screen. Something that keeps me away from smartphone photography, a smartphone screen doesn't tilt. Fortunately, the V10 allows you to comfortably shoot from waist level, giving you quick access to those dramatic wide angles. On top of that, the screen is touch sensitive, so it allows you to control the camera faster. And of course, if you want to see yourself, the screen goes 180 degrees up. This was expected from a vlogging camera, but oftentimes we forget how useful these tilting screens are in all types of situations. Another useful thing is the third pro, the stand. On the V10, you'll see something unique, a stand that saves the situation if you forget the tripod home. In fact, this thing is so useful that 90% of the time you won't be needing a tripod. Before buying the V10, I thought the stand is weak and cannot sustain the camera's weight in different positions for long periods of time. I was wrong. Its build quality and resistance is solid. I can't express how useful this stand is if you want to quickly film yourself. You just put the V10 somewhere in your room or on a bench if you're in the park and you're good to go. On top of that, with the help of the stand, you can get some dramatic B-roll shots. But these, of course, are also possible thanks to the fourth pro, the wide-angle lens and its good features. This lens also has some bad aspects. I'll talk about them later in the cons section, but the good stuff are these. The closest focusing distance of this lens is just 5 centimeters away from the sensor. You can put a subject really close and get some dramatic shots. The 20mm full frame equivalent is another good thing since you will always be in the frame while filming yourself handheld. A bonus comes with how this lens keeps distortions under control. As you can see, while being parallel with the subject, the lines are nice and straight. Canon put a nice lens on this compact camera. Fifth pro, quality 4K video recordings, and related to this, the 1-inch sensor. The Canon V10 can record videos in 4K with no crop. And I have to tell you, thanks to the 1-inch sensor, these videos look good. Color depth and dynamic range are much better than what we see on smartphone cameras. I mean, look at these. Image quality is spectacular for a 1-inch sensor. You get Canon's color science, photos and videos look good. That's a guarantee. When it comes to focusing, the V10 doesn't have dual pixel AF, but Canon did a good job on how fast and accurate this camera focuses. And if you want to spend a lot of time in front of the camera, there are no issues. The V10 doesn't have a recording limit, so it will not turn off automatically after 30 minutes. But as we all know, videos on YouTube are nothing without good sound. Fortunately, this camera comes with another pro, high-quality sound recording. On top of the V10, you'll find 2 powerful microphones that you only see on high-end voice recorders. They are big and extremely handy because most of the time you won't need an external microphone. Just to give you an idea, this is how the built-in microphones sound like with no editing.
These microphones do a decent job. I have quite a lot of bass in my voice, and if I bring the camera closer to my mouth, you can hear even more bass. It's like you almost don't need an external microphone. Quite decent sound on the Canon V10.
And with some audio editing, you can make it great. The built-in microphones save a lot of time. You don't have to worry about how your voice sounds like whether you're speaking in front or behind the camera. As I told you, the V10 has the microphones of a high-end voice recorder. But if you really need an external microphone plugged in, here comes the 7th Pro. The Canon V10 has many ports and a webcam function. On the right side of the camera, Canon put a microphone port but also an HDMI port. The shape, retractable screen, and stand already give a lot of flexibility, but with these two ports, you have even more. On the left side, you'll find the main reason why I bought this camera. An USB-C port for charging the camera, and with the cable, you can use the V10 as a webcam. You don't need extra software, it's plug and play. You just use the cable and get the best webcam, a 1-inch sensor webcam. So these were the pros, but here come the bad things. And I'm not gonna go easy on this camera because it has a few big disappointments. First one, no RAW and no manual mode in photos. I understand, this camera was designed for aspiring YouTubers. It's a video camera. In video, you do get manual mode, where you can adjust the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. But if you switch to photos, you only get auto mode, where the camera picks the settings. There's no way around it. On top of that, you can only take JPEGs, no RAW support. It's the same thing we find on the Sony ZV-1F, another vlogging camera without RAW support, but I was expecting Canon to be different. The second con is about the lens. No optical image stabilization and a dark f2.8 aperture. If you want to stabilize your footage, you'll have to activate digital stabilization. It does a good job, but it crops into your video. Let me show you. Here is the V10 without image stabilization. Now I'm switching it on, where we see a slight crop, and if we pick enhanced stabilization, there will be quite a severe crop. This could have been less of an issue if the V10 lens had optical stabilization. The second downside comes in low light situations. f2.8 is a dark aperture for a 1-inch sensor. I haven't done the math, but basically f2.8 on a 1-inch sensor comes close to f5.6 on a full-frame camera. There are other compact cameras with f1.8. The third con is about the tiny screen on which it's hard to see what you're doing, and here I'm mainly talking about focusing. By having a small screen, it's hard to see if your face is in focus. Luckily, this camera has good face tracking, but the issue comes when you're using the specified frame AF. I usually focus on a subject and then turn AF off just to avoid focus hunting. Many times I miss shots even though the camera gave me the green focus confirmation mark. Being so tiny, you don't always see what is happening on the screen. Okay, now here come the two biggest cons that make the V10 almost useless. The non-removable battery. While you're outside recording with the V10, you quickly start wishing you had a normal camera with some spare batteries. The V10 can record in 4K for up to 55 minutes and in Full HD for 1 hour and 20 minutes. These are not bad results, but because the battery is non-removable, you'll have to wait for an hour for a full charge. On top of that, the battery doesn't charge if the camera is turned on. The solution, if you want to shoot all day, is to carry a power bank with you and to charge the camera often. When you need two pockets, one for the camera and one for the power bank, it's frustrating. And if this wasn't bad enough, let me tell you the last con. The camera doesn't charge while you're streaming with it. The V10, thanks to the 1-inch sensor, is a great webcam, but once you connect it to your computer via the USB-C cable, you immediately notice something. The V10 uses the internal battery for power. It does not get power from the USB-C cable while it's connected to your computer, while you're using it as a webcam. I tested it on a Zoom call and got 1 hour and 30 minutes on a full battery. So if you're a gamer streaming on social media platforms, this camera might not be the right choice for you. In conclusion, the Canon Powershot V10, thanks to those pros, is a nice camera. The excellent image quality, the shape, the stand make it unique. But what's the point of having a great camera if in an hour it becomes useless? The non-removable battery is the biggest flaw of a V10. For some people, this might not be such a big issue. So, what is your opinion about this portable camera? Please write your thoughts below in the comment section, and if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to this channel because I will make more camera reviews. As for me, I'm holding on to my V10 because as long as I have my power brick with me, there's no problem. See you in the next video, guys.